Hey you guys, welcome back to my channel. Today we are doing a very exciting video. I'm sharing with you guys my recommendations for the Sephora VIB sale, which is starting today. But I wanted to attack this in kind of a different format, so I'm sharing with you guys the top 10 best products I have purchased from Sephora, and we're going to be ranking them. I really wanted to narrow this down to the things that I think are particularly special or unique or worth their price. Basically the things I've been the most happy with over the last, some of these I've had for a while. Should be fun, but before we get into my top 10 list, and I do have a couple honorable mentions because of course I always cheat at these little games. Before we do that, if you are new here, a very special welcome to you. Thank you for stopping by today. I hope you enjoy this video. Please be sure to subscribe before you leave and make sure your notifications are turned on. And with that, let's get to it. Okay, so we're gonna start at the bottom at number 10, and then at the end, I do have just a handful of honorable mentions that I will share with you guys because there were a few things that were right at the cusp that I felt bad totally leaving out. Let's start with this one, which I think is going to surprise you guys. It is foundation that is relatively new to me, and it's slowly been climbing the rankings of my favorite foundations, especially when it comes to high end. I just talked about it in my favorites video literally yesterday, I believe. It is the LYS Triple Fix Serum Foundation. I am more and more obsessed with this foundation. It happens to match me almost perfectly, which rarely happens with any foundation drugstore or high end. I use shade MN number 3. I also just love the finish. If you have dry skin, this is a great dewier, hydrating, lovely finish, but it's not overly like greasy. It doesn't tend to move around too much on me, and I just love the packaging. This is such a beautiful glass bottle. It has a great pump on it, which I've talked about several times, and the price of this thing, $24 for a foundation at Sephora, is kind of unheard of unless you're maybe going Sephora brand. Most foundations at Sephora are around the $40 mark, if not more. So to find a good one for $24, I'm so impressed with this. I just can't stop using it or talking about it. Great one if you're looking for a good high-end foundation that's not as expensive as some of the others. Coming in at number 9, something that's pretty new to me, but this one is very, very unique. It is the Cali Ray Hideaway Concealer or Corrector. This one is in the shade Pale Sun, which is kind of a very light yellow. This is the best thing I've ever found to counter dark circles under my eyes. It's basically a concealer that is just targeted for color correcting, and I really just use it in this little pocket right here. I can't use this anywhere else, and I've talked about this before, but I know I might have a couple new visitors here. It's a little too slippery for me to use all the way under my eye. It starts to settle into some of my fine lines here at the outer corner here. It's also quite yellow, so it's really not meant for coverage. It's meant for countering, but it does also conceal my under eye area. Whenever I use this, I am wearing it on my skin today, by the way, it just totally erases that little blue area that I get right here under my eye and kind of up here into the shadow of my nose, and just brightens it all up. It's fantastic. It does add an extra step for me, so I don't use it every single day, but when I really want to look my best, I definitely will add a little bit of this to my under eye area, and it works wonders for me. Coming in at number 8, I am going with the Lawless Forget the Filler Lip Gloss in Glazed. I have so many lip glosses that I love. Some of them are also high-end, but this one is particularly unique. I haven't found a drugstore dupe for this lip gloss yet. I am wearing it on my lips today. It's basically a clear with a very touch of a pink to it, kind of along the lines of the Lifter Gloss in Opal or Sweet Mouth from Fenty, which are two of my favorites. By the way, these are dupes for each other. But this one has more pearl in it. It's almost like a shimmery effect, but it's not metallic. It's a pearl. It just makes your lips look more plump, more glossy. It's a lovely, lovely finish. I love this lip gloss. I'm almost out of mine. I haven't tried, actually I do have a couple minis of their other glosses and I like them, but this shade in particular is particularly special. For number 7, I'm gonna go with my Charlotte Tilbury bronzer. This is the Sun-Kissed Glow bronzer in Fair. I was tempted to mention my NARS cream bronzer because I also am falling in love with that bronzer, but this one's been a longer time favorite for me. It's more, I would say this is more of a sculpting and shaping bronzer than it is for warming up your complexion, which normally I don't like. But if you have fair skin and you're very sensitive to bronzers pulling too warm on you, I think you'll really love this shade because it does not pull too warm. Let me just give it a little swatch on the back of my hand for you guys. I am wearing it on my cheeks today. Really just subtle, neutral bronzer, but it's also not so cool that it looks kind of ashy. Great formula. It is a pretty penny for sure, but you get so much product in here. I feel like it kind of makes it worth the higher price tag. You do get some value in here as far as how much product you're getting. It's also more of a satiny kind of cream finish, and I also think it lasts really well because of that. Don't get me wrong, I love a good, very dewy emollient cream bronzer, but if you have oily skin and those formulas you just can't get along with, I think you'll really love this one. It's kind of like the perfect middle ground. Ranked at number 6, I'm gonna go with my Natasha Denona I Need a Rose lip liner in the shade Calla. By the way, this is my original, this is my backup. I already bought a backup because I love this so much. I'm obsessed with this lip liner. I think it has officially become my favorite higher end lip liner. I also love the Charlotte Tilbury ones, but those ones can be almost too, you can almost pull too much. They're very, very kind of waxy and thick. These aren't quite that waxy and thick, but they give you the good staying power that the Charlotte Tilbury one has. They don't feather. I love this shade. It's a perfect nude that leans a little warm. There it is right there. I am wearing it on my lips today. It's just perfect. Every time I wear this, no matter what gloss or lipstick I'm putting on top of it, it looks amazing. Ranked at number 5, I'm gonna go with my Laura Mercier Matte Radiance Baked Powder in Highlight 01. This is perhaps my most used highlighter of all time. I'm constantly pulling this back onto my desk, even if I'm trying to rotate through some of my other highlighters that I love. This one always ends up making it back to me because it is the perfect shade and formula. It gives me a nice glow, but I would almost say it's a little bit more natural looking, a little bit less shimmery than some of my other ones. It doesn't emphasize texture in the way that some of my more intense highlighters can, but it still kind of gives me that same intensity. It's absolutely lovely. It's very pigmented, probably more suitable for those of you that have like light to fair skin. You certainly could sheer it out if you have a deeper skin tone, but oh, I just love this. It's so, so pretty. It's the perfect highlighter, especially if you have mature skin, you're sensitive to texture on your cheeks or anything looking too bedazzled. I think you'll love this highlighter. Ranked at number 4, I had to go with my Laneige Lip Glowy Balm. This is such a staple for me. I have other balms that I love, but I always come back to this one. It is so, so good. It really softens up my lips when I'm particularly going through a dry spell. Usually when the seasons change in the fall and also in the spring, I feel like my lips go through this phase where they're almost like they're shedding. And this is the only lip balm that I feel like really tampers that down and can almost like exfoliates my lips. I mean, it's not an exfoliator, but it cuts through that layer of just crustiness and softens everything up. It's so nice. I have the gummy bear flavor. It's lovely. This is always ending up with me in my purse. If I'm doing like a red lip or I'm prepping for a darker lip liner or lipstick, I'll always put this on underneath for preparation. It's so incredible. I do also own the Laneige Lip Sleeping Mask, which I finally put up by my bed because I actually like this a little better than that, but I am starting to like the Lip Sleeping Mask for the purpose of actually sleeping in it, which I should have known was its purpose all along, but for some reason it just took me years to try it that way. But just for everyday use, you can't beat this lip balm right here if you don't mind a higher end lip balm. All right, getting serious now. We're down to my top 3 products I have ever bought from Sephora. Coming in at number 3, my Milk Makeup Jelly Tints. I'm still gonna mention these 2 shades right here. These are the 2 shades I originally tried, Chill and Splash. You have a berry tone and kind of a warmer, kind of corally pink. You guys, I love this formula so, so much. I know there's kind of like, I think you either love it or you hate it. I've heard both really good and really bad things about this. But if you need something that's long lasting, this stuff will not come off. So here's Chill, this one is Splash. They're the perfect shades in my opinion. If I want something a little warmer, I'll go with Chill. If I want something more berry toned and cool, I'll go with Splash. They last all day. These will not budge. I just think they're amazing. I do have the other shades as well, and I like them, but I'm still just in love with these 2 shades, and I don't think that you need all the shades. Just pick 1 or 2 that you think you might like, just based on what your preferences are, what type of shades you like, and you just cannot go wrong. Ranked at number 2, had to mention an eyeshadow palette from Natasha Denona. This was tricky. I limited myself to 1, so I went with the one that has stayed in the number 1 spot for quite a while now. It is the I Need a Nude palette. I still think this is just the most glorious, beautiful eyeshadow palette and color story. It's amazing. I am wearing it on my eyes today. It's the perfect nude. It gives you such a pretty polished look that's just very neutral. It's not too ashy and cool or gray, but it's also not very brown. It's not too pink, but it does give you just a little bit of like peachy pinks in here that look feminine and nice without being too Barbie or in your face. The best neutral color story I've ever seen. I can't get enough of this. It's just the perfect palette for me and for what I really like these days. But you still get some variety as far as like transition shades. You want to go with peaches or with kind of these coolish neutrals here. You have some mid-tone shimmer, some beautiful lid shimmers. You even have like an ivory matte, which is lovely, a dark brown. It's just a perfect staple palette. I love it so much. I think they did such a great job on this one. I did want to give an honorable mention right here to the Golden palette, which I've also been really loving. If I had to pick one, I would pick the I Need a Nude. But if you like your warmer browns, you're not into the kind of more pinky or neutral nudes, and you like your warmer nudes, this is the perfect warm nude palette. It's so good. I absolutely love this one as well. I know the Natasha Denona palettes are super pricey, but if there ever was a time to pick one up, maybe if you've been saving up or waiting for the sale, this is the one that I would most recommend if you've been holding off on. It is so amazing. Okay, and that leaves me with my #1 product that I've ever bought from Sephora. I think this is going to shock you guys. It's actually not even a makeup product. It is the Sol de Janeiro number 59. I am so obsessed with this. I think it is the best scent I have ever smelled in my life. I use this thing to death. I mean, this is 8 ounces of a body mist. I wish they had an eau de parfum of this because it does not last super long. If you ever tried these, they're nice to kind of spritz on and smell good for a few hours, but they're not gonna last all day long, but they aren't super expensive. So even the full 8-ounce bottle of this, I think it's only like $38, which is not that expensive for a fragrance. And because you get so much product, it's pretty easy to reapply. I actually want to pick up a mini of this so I can kind of take it with me if I'm going somewhere or have it in my car. It's not even that I'm trying to smell good for other people all day. I just want to be smelling this all day long. It is such a lovely, lovely smell. I will list the notes for you guys right here. It's kind of warm. It's kind of spicy. I don't know. I'm terrible. I can't describe perfumes. I can't describe makeup. I have a hard time with that. Just if you're ever in a Sephora or the next time you're in a Sephora, I think you actually can smell these now in Ulta. Although last time I was in Ulta, I don't think they had the number 59. This is my favorite one. I also love the original yellow one, but this one, oh my gosh, I just think it's the best smell in the world. All right, that is it for my top 10 products. I wanted to go over a couple of honorable mentions for you guys because I just couldn't leave these ones out. First off, this one right here, the Glow Recipe Watermelon Dewdrops. I was back and forth between putting this or the LYS foundation, but I just felt like a foundation would be a good one to throw into my top 10. And I don't use a primer every single day, and I also have some drugstore primers that I like as well. But this is a fantastic primer if you have extremely dry skin. It's actually a serum, but I love using it underneath my foundation, especially on those days when my skin is feeling extra dry. It really softens up your skin. It feels incredible. I used it on my daughter-in-law for her wedding makeup, and she even was like, oh my gosh, what is that on my skin? It feels so, so good. I also wanted to give an honorable mention to my Tower 28 mascara. This was for a long time one of my all-time favorite mascaras, but I feel like I found some drugstore, not dupes for this, but ones that I like as much or more from the drugstore. I'm specifically thinking about my Panorama mascara at my Flower Beauty Dream Warrior. I like those just as much, if not more, than the Tower 28, so I didn't really want to put this in this video, but this still is a really good mascara. I am wearing on my lashes today. It does really good job lengthening, separating. It makes it look like you have a lot of individual lashes, and also holds up pretty well to watery eyes. Not the most water resistant, not like my Panorama mascara, which I love so much, but it does a pretty good job if you just are dealing with some like mild watery eyes. Wanted to give a brief mention to the Haus Labs Powder Blush in French Rosette. I am wearing this on my cheeks today. It is a beautiful color, very pigmented. It's a matte blush, which I don't even usually like matte blushes that much, but there's just something special about this one. It gives your cheeks this like bright pop of color that just looks so vibrant and healthy. It's a really easy to work with formula. The packaging's adorable. I haven't been wild about a lot of the Haus Labs things that I've tried, but this was one of the few things that really did impress me. And then I also wanted to mention the Merit Cream blushes. This is the perfect time of year. I think they have hopefully they still have the mini sets of these. If you haven't tried out their cream blushes yet, that's what I did to try these out. I think either last year or maybe it was the year before. And I love them. I think they're fantastic. These two shades in particular, I love so much. This one is Fox, it's a little bit darker. Sorry, I've still got the milk ones right there. So this is Fox, beautiful shade for fall. And then this one is Beverly Hills, which actually kind of reminds me of Fox, but a little bit lighter, a little bit more pink. It's a lovely nude shade if you have more of a light, fair skin. These formulas are really nice. They're very nice and creamy, but they don't feel too sticky on your cheeks. Very easy to work with. They don't take long to blend out, so it won't really mess up your foundation underneath. And then last but not least, I wanted to just mention a couple of my Patrick Ta items, but I had to mention them in passing briefly because I do really love them. The duo, the bronzer duo, I have She's Sculpted. I actually have that one right here. She's So LA, the blush. I love that blush. I've actually been wanting to pick up another shade for years of the Patrick Ta blush duos, but they're just so expensive. Patrick Ta, I love his makeup products, at least the things that I've tried so far, but they're so expensive I always talk myself out of adding things from his collection to my collection. And then his eyeshadow palette is also amazing. Love that one. It's one of my favorites, but if I had to pick one, I would pick Natasha over Patrick. But that's gonna do it for today. I hope that you guys enjoyed this video. Were you guys surprised by my rankings in any of these? I know there are some products that probably you were surprised didn't show up because I've loved them previously. I'm thinking like my Milk Makeup Hydro Grip Primer, which I do love, but I feel like there's alternatives to that one now, and some others. And I also feel like my preferences have changed over the years. So there are some of these things that I feel like have shifted since the last time I did a similar video. I would love to know what your #1 product you've ever purchased from Sephora is. Let me know down below. I hope you guys are doing well. Let me give you one final reminder, if you haven't yet subscribed, please do that before you leave, and I will see you all in my next video. Bye.